TomoNews presents Wildfire.
Tree plus lightning bolt equals awesomely destructive fire. An Arkansas man captured footage of the wreckage of a tree after it was hit by lightning. Brent Hager of Springdale, Arkansas, noticed a flash of lightning nearby on June 12th. It wasn't until hours later that Hager's wife noticed smoke coming from the nearby pasture. Hager took his four-wheeler to check it out. That's when he found the burning tree. Hager later wrote that they knew the tree was already a lost cause, so they watched it burn until it finally split in half and fell. Lightning storms are common in the state and have been known to start fires. Last spring, lightning struck a church and set it ablaze. Firefighters were able to put out the flames, but were unable to save the church. During the same storm, 2 houses and an oil well were also struck and caught fire. If there's a lesson to be learned from this, it's don't mess with Mother Nature.
NASA warns that Indonesia's forest fires could worsen. NASA warns that the suffocating haze blanketing Southeast Asia for the past several weeks may worsen and become the worst ever recorded in the region. Illegal slash-and-burn farming in southern and eastern Sumatra, as well as on the island of Kalimantan, causes Indonesia to endure annual bouts of hazardous smog. The expansion of small farms and the growth of palm oil or rubber corporations in recent years has intensified forest fires in the country. The haze caused by this year's fires has spread to various parts of Indonesia and has deeply impacted air quality in Singapore and Malaysia. Pollutant Standards Index readings of over 300 are considered hazardous to human health. Singapore has recorded readings of up to 341 this year, while Indonesia has reportedly seen readings of up to 2,000. NASA researchers have warned that if Indonesia's current drier-than-usual weather conditions persist, the haze will worsen. Indonesia's Southeast Asian neighbors are pressuring the archipelago to solve the haze issue, with the Singapore Foreign Ministry reportedly saying that Indonesia is showing a complete disregard for our people and their own. The Jakarta Globe reports that an Indonesian official responded by accusing Singapore of acting like a child and making all of this noise. Indonesia has rejected Singapore's help to fight the fires.
Inferno spreads across Canada's Fort McMurray. 88,000 evacuated. An entire city burns as fire tears through forests and wooded areas in northern Alberta, Canada. A wildfire that sparked on May 1st has spread to such catastrophic proportions it quite honestly resembles hell on earth. Sizzling temperatures, high winds, and dry conditions combined to create the disaster scenario, leading authorities to evacuate roughly 88,000 people in the city and surrounding area. Miraculously, there have been no reports of deaths or injuries thus far. Temperatures rose to as high as 32.6 degrees Celsius on May 3rd, the fire unrelenting as emergency crews battled the flames and smoke overhead. A state of emergency has been declared across the province of Alberta for the time being, as a reported 1,600 structures have been lost to the raging inferno among the 7,400 acres of land that have been burnt to a crisp. Temperatures are expected to drop down significantly over the next few days, which will aid firefighters in their attempts to calm the mighty blaze.
Firenadoes, this is how they form. Firenadoes have made the news in the last few weeks in California and Missouri after a record dry winter has set the perfect conditions for wildfires. Known in the science community as a fire whirl, a firenado is a phenomena that has been documented for more than 100 years. The Great Chicago Fire in 1871, for example, was spread by a fire whirl throwing flaming chunks of wood in all directions. A fire whirl can occur when ground-level winds create an air vortex that comes in contact with fire. The ground's high temperature causes the hot air immediately above the surface to quickly rise, pushing the air vortex up into a vertical fire spiral. The air inside the funnel then acts as a solid rotating column of gas, which keeps spinning quickly while kicking up fire and smoke. It is estimated that firenadoes burn fuel 3 to 7 times faster than an open flame. They can be as high as a 10-story building and 10 feet wide. While some firenadoes dissipate after a couple of minutes, others can sustain themselves for longer, dramatically enlarging a wildfire's path of destruction for miles. The deadliest fire whirl on record occurred in Japan in 1923, which formed after the Great Kanto 7.9 earthquake and swept the area where survivors of the quake had gathered. Thousands were killed in just minutes.
Los Angeles hit by blaze of historic proportions. Firefighters in LA are currently fighting the largest fire in the city's history. Governor Jerry Brown declared a state of emergency in Los Angeles County on Sunday as firefighters continued to battle a 5,900-acre brush fire near Burbank. The blaze was 25% contained by Sunday night, with more than 1,000 firefighters from across California currently on scene. According to the LA Fire Chief, there are over 200 fire engines and 9 helicopters dedicated to battling the fire. 300 homes in Burbank and 180 homes in Los Angeles received evacuation orders. 3 houses have been destroyed by fire, while 2 firefighters have been treated for dehydration. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti already said the blaze was the biggest in the city's history in terms of acreage. Fire officials expect full containment within 3 or 4 days.
Officials hope to put death grip on massive Canadian wildfire. Cooler weather and rain showers are giving hope to firefighters currently working to stop a huge fire raging through the Canadian province of Alberta. The wildfire began on May 1st, southwest of Fort McMurray, the center of Canada's oil sands region. A week later, it had consumed 395,000 acres of land. The damage is smaller than previous estimates, which saw the fire growing to about 741,000 acres, but officials warned the fire could still grow overnight. Hot, dry, and windy conditions initially worsened the inferno, despite the efforts of 1,500 firefighters across the region. The weather turned on Sunday, bringing a drop in temperature and light rain that helped keep the fire at bay. The wildfire has destroyed over 1,600 structures and displaced about 88,000 people. No direct casualties have been reported, though 2 teens were killed in a crash during an evacuation. The blaze forced half of Canada's oil production capacity offline, incurring a loss of about 1 million barrels per day. The massive natural disaster is set to become the most expensive in Canada's history, with an analyst estimating more than 9 billion Canadian dollars in insurance losses. The Bank of Montreal adjusted its growth forecast for Canada's GDP in the second quarter to 0 from 1.5%, citing severe disruptions to oil production as a result of the fire.
Tourists drive through raging California wildfire. It looks like a vision of hell, but this terrifying scene is what confronted a family of terrified tourists at Christmas. Micah Max and her family from the Netherlands didn't realize they were heading into the heart of a raging wildfire on December 25th. The family of 5 were driving from Los Angeles to Santa Barbara after watching an NBA game between the Lakers and the Clippers. Max began filming as fire scorched the earth on either side of the road and sent burning embers and bush flying onto the car. The family escaped the ordeal by speeding away from the inferno before it could do any lasting damage to the car or their lives. The fire blazed from Christmas night into Boxing Day, burning more than 1,200 acres of land in Solomar Beach in Ventura County. Officials said 2 firefighters were injured in the fire, which was caused by downed power lines amid a drought and high winds.
Faith in humanity restored. As wildfire devastated more than 90 acres of land in California, one man's random act of kindness toward a helpless creature instantly made him everyone's hero. The man had pulled over along Highway 101 near La Conchita after spotting a rabbit near the edge of the blaze. The animal darted into a burning bush, prompting the frantic bystander to jump up and down in a panic before rushing toward the inferno. He then reaches for something in the flames, eventually getting hold of the frightened bunny and carrying it to safety. A news photographer had filmed the daring rabbit rescue, which quickly went viral and made everyone and their mother collectively awe. The hero reportedly declined to be interviewed, but that didn't stop netizens from weighing in and piling on the praise for his selfless stunt.
The U.S. military plans to deploy 4 specially equipped C-130 firefighting aircraft to aid Arizona firefighters battling what is now considered the deadliest fire in state history. The giant C-130 tanker planes are equipped with the modular airborne firefighting system, giving them the ability to drop 3,000 gallons of water or fire retardant in less than 5 seconds. Each drop can cover an area of 60 feet wide and 1/4 of a mile long. 2 of the aircraft have been provided by the Air Force, the other 2 by the National Coast Guard.
A pyrocumulus cloud can form when an intense fire sends a column of hot air into the atmosphere. Cool air rushes in to replace the rising hot air, creating a convection column. Water vapor, a product of the fire, rises up through the column. If it hits an unstable atmosphere, it rises higher and comes into contact with cold air, condensing into a cloud. Prevailing winds can push the cloud along. This cloud can produce lightning, which can spark new fires. Under some conditions, water vapor in the cloud can become dense enough to fall as rain.